current status quo does not allow cannabis sativa, also known as marijuana, to be used at all, it is 100% legal. Currently, marijuana is used by many people of all ages and genders. It is getting to a point where it is almost uncontrollable, and something needs to be done about it. According to Scope, an information source about the black market, there is between 119 million to 224 million marijuana smokers worldwide. We should like to regulate the cannabis distribution, reduce criminal activity involving marijuana, and create revenue for our country. First, we can regulate the marijuana activity by having vendors at marked locations and allowing anyone of the age to come buy marijuana. Then, reducing crime activity in our country dealing with marijuana would allow some of our prisons to be open to serious felony charges. Legalizing marijuana would also put a restriction on the drug cartel and would result reducing even more violence. Finally, we will be able to create revenue by putting on a tax on marijuana. For one single marijuana plant, $2,200 is made on the black market. Just imagine what our government can make with a markup. We want to legalize marijuana to control the uncontrollable.
Thank you.
According to whitehouse.gov, the federal status quo of marijuana is that it is classified as a Schedule I controlled substance under the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. As a Schedule I drug, marijuana is classified under these criteria. The drug has a high potential for abuse. The drug has currently no accepted medical use and treatment in the United States. There is a lack of accepted safety for the use of the drug under medical supervision. The most recent rescheduling petition was filed by medical cannabis advocates in 2002, but was denied by the DEA in July 2011. Some disadvantages to changing the system is that cannabis sativa is considered to be a gateway drug. It often leads to harder drugs like cocaine and heroin. By legalizing marijuana, this would increase the chances of children abusing this drug. Legalization of marijuana could lead to the legalization of harder drugs or eventually all drugs. Legalization would increase DUI dangers, and there is no proven way to test a person if a person is currently high or under the influence of cannabis. Why wouldn't their plans solve the problem? Marijuana cannot and should not be regulated because it is a harmful substance, addictive, and it may not reduce crime. According to Stanford University psychiatry professional Keith Humphreys, a former senior policy advisor at the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy.
10 seconds, Representative Christensen.
Developed a theoretical pie chart breaking down cartels' likely revenue streams. In the pie chart, marijuana sales only make up 17% of these sales, and while
marijuana is illegal on the federal level, it is a Class I substance, as you mentioned. It is decriminalized, and there are legal medical use in 8 states. It is recreationally legal in 2 states, decriminalized laws in 6 states, legal use in 7 states. My purpose behind that is saying there's a little bit of discrepancy here, okay? In order to end the existing and worsening conflict between state and federal governments, marijuana must be made legal on a federal level for adult recreational use so that it can be regulated, taxed, and controlled by the federal government, similar to that of tobacco. If the federal government does not make cannabis legal, it will have to crack down on these dispensaries, basically take away something that was given to the people. We all probably know how well that worked during the Prohibition. Not at all. Okay? If states continue to legalize the use of marijuana and the government does not step in, the law will just become irrelevant and unenforceable. If one law is irrelevant, who's to say the rest aren't irrelevant as well? Which ones are we going to choose to enforce? If we create and regulate our own legal supply of marijuana, then marijuana cartels will be virtually out of business, reducing drug-related and gang activity, which will reduce arrests and the amount of money spent to keep nonviolent marijuana-related offenders in jail. Also, it will free up police and court system time for more urgent matters, and the lower price will lead to less marijuana-driven crimes such as theft. Also, we will reduce the likeliness of individuals turning to synthetic forms of marijuana, such as K2, which have been shown to be more hazardous to one's health and impair one's motor abilities substantially more than marijuana. And, little food for thought, some forms of synthetic marijuana is legal in almost every state for adult use. and the chemicals that they use are not disclosed on the labels, and they are not tested for safety. Yet they are made to be abused.
10 seconds left,
On
Representative
top of the
Hunter.
numerous benefits I have already mentioned about legalization of marijuana, the legalization will open up a new market for the unemployed by the new farms we'll have and the dispensaries, not to mention the upwards of 25,000 products that can be marketed from the marijuana plant.
Thank you, Representative Hunter, for your constructive speech. We'll open the floor to a negative cross-examination of 1 minute. That time starts now.
Representative Hunter, you said that drug cartels will be out of business if marijuana is legalized.
Yes, they will be out of their marijuana business.
How do you know that they will not pick up another drug?
Because that is unlikely, because they are currently dealing in marijuana. That is assuming that our nation as a whole will pick up another drug as well. That's a pretty big statement to make there, because that hasn't happened yet. Yes, Matt.
Representative Hunter, you said legalizing marijuana will reduce gang activity. How so?
Yes. Well, most gangs, most of their revenue is fueled from marijuana. If we take away the revenue, the gang eventually begins to crumble. And that's basically what a gang is distributing drugs to a community.
10 seconds left in this cross-examination.
What's the gang?
Do you happen to know the percentage of people who are in prison for marijuana?
Thank you very much, Representative Daly. We will now open the floor to a negative preparation time of 30 seconds. Negative team, you have 30 seconds to prepare. That time starts now. Nice job so far, guys. Ten seconds until our last constructive. Negative team, your preparation time is ended. I'll now open to the floor to a 3-minute second constructive against the bill. Do I have such a speech?
Yes, you do.
Excellent. Representative Daly, your time starts now.
Billions of people cannot get drunk on a sip of wine. Hundreds of millions cannot get drunk on even a glass of wine or a can of beer. However, there are countless millions of people who get high with the normal use of even only 1, 2, or 3 drags on a joint. Legalizing marijuana will make it more accessible to people who are under the legal age limit. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 5 teen drivers involved in fatal crashes had some alcohol in their system in 2010. Currently, 15.2 million users compared to 129 million alcohol users and 70.9 million tobacco users. Legalizing marijuana will also put teenagers at a risk for high driving, fatal crashes. According to WhiteHouse.gov, legalization will lead to a decrease in retail price by more than 80%. Making it cheaper will make it more accessible to people, including those unemployed, such as teenagers and others. In 2007, the United States, illegal drugs cost $193 billion in healthcare, lost productivity, crime, and other expenditures. Legalizing it may increase tax revenue from the drug itself, but it will also increase revenue from crimes and other In 2010, marijuana was involved in more than 461,000 emergency department visits nationwide. This is more than nearly 39% of all emergency visits involving illicit drugs.
It's okay, you've got about a minute left. Help her out, guys. Thirty seconds remain.
That is all.
Thank you very much for the speech. Affirmative team, you have 1 minute to cross-examine this constructive, and that time for cross-examination begins now.
You said 39% had to deal with emergency visits. Was it just strictly marijuana, or was there other drugs involved?
It was nearly 39% of involving illicit drugs, so all. drugs.
All drugs,
Yes. You're welcome.
Good question. About 30
And
seconds.
now, what percent of emergency visits involve illicit drugs at all?
I do not know.
Ten seconds for cross-examine. Cross-examination ends. At this time, we will hear no new information to the floor. However, we will open up for a rebuttal to the bill. Affirmative team, you have 30 seconds to prepare for your first rebuttal. Your preparation time starts now. Five. And affirmative preparation time is ended. At this moment, we will open to the floor to an affirmative rebuttal for the length of 2 minutes. Do I have such a speech?
Here.
Excellent. Representative Tan, you have 2 minutes. Your time starts now.
There is no good evidence that prohibitions decrease drug use, and there are several theories that just prohibitions might actually increase drug use. The forbidden fruit effects is usually accessible for youth. If our goal is to reduce drug consumption, so we should focus on open and honest program to educate youth and regularly keep drugs away from kids, and treatment program for people with drug problems. And the current prohibition does not allow such reasonable approach to marijuana. Examples start with their police officers spreading lies about drugs in the school, and police that result in jail time rather than the treatment for people with drug problems. We tried prohibitions with alcohol and failed further. We should be able to learn our lessons and stop repeating the same mistake.
20 seconds remain. If you want to, you can say you're done.
No.
Excellent. Negative team, you have 30 seconds to prepare for your first rebuttal. That preparation time starts now. Ten seconds. And our negative preparation time has ended. I'll open the floor at this time to a 2-minute rebuttal from the negative team. Do I have such a speech?
Yes.
Excellent. Representative Kunkel, your time starts now.
You said that the government was going to regulate cannabis, and how would this be done? It would be very hard for them to draw the line in order to keep it safe, if not impossible. The drug is considered addictive, which would make it difficult for someone to stop once they have begun and may get out of hand. If it was legalized, it would become a gateway drug to harder substances such as heroin, cocaine, or meth. People who use drugs tend to look for a more potent high as they become used to one drug. Also, it would be very hard for this drug to be taxed because people can grow it on their own and sell it for their own benefits, which might not help the government.
I would also like to add that we're saying marijuana is going to be taxed. You're saying marijuana is going to be taxed and it'll benefit the debt in our national government. Well, what about the lottery system and the riverboats? They were supposedly supposed to help our national debt, and look how well they turned out. Yeah, we're still in debt. Another example of that is the interstate and tolls.
Have they actually had no benefit on helping the debt? Have they created any revenue at all?
Well, I'm not saying they haven't created any revenue, but I'm not
So they
saying
are
they're helping the cause because we're still going down on our debt.
But they are helping.
Very minor.
Okay.
40 seconds remain. You don't have to use it, it's okay.
That's all.
Excellent. At this point in time, we will prepare 30 seconds for our affirmative team. Affirmative team, your prep time starts now. Yeah, they can share parts. It doesn't have to be one speaker per. Ten seconds. That ends our affirmative preparation time. At this point, I will open the floor to a 1-minute second rebuttal by the affirmative team. Do I have such a rebuttal? Affirmative team?
There, yes.
Sorry. Representative Noblock, your time starts now.
We can regulate, just as tobacco is, and it is more addictive. Cops cannot deal with all the marijuana crime that they will be allowed to work on, and they can they will be allowed to go work on like more severe crimes, more important jobs by legalizing marijuana.
Ten
I heard
seconds.
comedians say, all rape begins with kissing. So should we outlaw kissing? That's kind of your gateway drug argument, isn't it?
Thank you very much, affirmative team. The negative team now has 30 seconds to prepare. Negative team, your preparation time starts now. Ten seconds. And we will end our preparation time. Negative team, you have 1 minute for your second rebuttal. Do I have such a rebuttal by the negative team?
Sure.
Representative Capron, your time starts now.
In response to that quote or comment, whatever you call it, I believe if you give someone a foot, they will take a mile. So, like, you give someone so much this way, they're going to want to continue. It's just one step leads to another, and it's just a landslide. So it's just a matter of time before, if we legalize this drug, it's just a matter of time before more of those other drugs will become legal. So that is why we need to keep it illegal.
You said by legalizing marijuana, the cops will have more time to work on other more important crimes. But what do we consider important? Like murder?
Yes, murder, theft,
Okay, theft.
more
we still
serious
have-
drugs, narcotics.
Alcohol is legal, and they still have to work on that. They still have to spend a lot of time working on that because people don't follow the law.
10 seconds.
Marijuana does not impair the driving as alcohol does.
As much, but it still impairs it.
Thank you very much for that rebuttal, affirmative team. You now have 30 seconds to prepare for your third and final rebuttal. That affirmative preparative time starts now. Something. 10 seconds remain in the preparation time. And that ends our preparation time. Affirmative team, I will now open the floor to a 1-minute final rebuttal. Do I have such a speech?
Yes.
Representative Claggett, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, marijuana is already legal in many other states, which shows us that we could survive with it legal in our state. There's no link between marijuana and the increased risk of an accident, so it does not really impair, it doesn't at all impair the driving like alcohol would. 119 million to 224 million already use marijuana worldwide, and it has not affected us. So there is illegal use of marijuana in every state, so why not just make it legal?
10 seconds remain. Thank you very much, affirmative team. Your time is now ended. Negative team, you have 30 seconds to prepare for your third and final rebuttal, and that time starts now. Ten seconds remain in the negative preparation time. Negative preparation time is ended. At this point, I will open the floor to a 1-minute third and final rebuttal by the negative team. Have I such a speech? Representative Capron, the floor is yours.
Picture a world where there's no worries, no cares, no rules. Pretty awesome, right? That's freedom, right? Yeah. In America, freedom. Great thing. But freedom comes restrictions. And with restrictions, we need to be able to restrict certain things that make freedom safe for not just us, but for the people around us. In a free world, you want to feel safe and comfortable. Otherwise, otherwise you're always running from everywhere. Trying to run from fear, run from disease, run from who knows what. But you just gotta look at the facts that
10 seconds remain.
in a free world, you don't want to always have to worry about people that are always under the influence, not caring what they do or knowledgeable of what they do.
Thank you very much, Representative Capron.